Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Yes, that's the name of my first kill team. There's just no way around it.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Greetings, good humans, and welcome to Tabletop Alchemy, where sometimes we play a game for the first time that's been around forever, and we thank our patrons for their steadfast support in these late endeavors. Yes, I'm late to the game as always. I haven't played Warhammer or Warhammer 40k since probably 1996, and the same buddy I gamed with back then decided to join me in checking out the current version of Kill Team. Skirmish just fits the bill over having to buy and paint up 24 square feet worth of miniatures. When I first saw the Octarius box set, I knew I kind of wanted to paint up those Ork Kommandos. They look cool, right? I mean, come on. And I thought Hoffman, my buddy, with his love of all things World War II and World War I, would probably dig that Krieg unit. Is it weird that as a species we tend to make hobbies out of generally horrific things? It's just amusing. Anyway, we agreed to split the cheaper version of the Octarius box. This thing right here. The Kill Team starter set, which is $100 versus the Octarius box set, which was, I don't know, like $250 when it came out, or still, I don't even know. Anyway, this was nice and cheap, $50 each. We got, each of us got a unit, and I bought an extra set of rulebooks, so no big deal. So we both got our kill teams, pulled them out of the box, and I embarked upon what I think is my biggest speed painting project to date, comprising a total of 12 miniatures. Just cleaning mold lines and assembly took like a week of hobby time. Now, knowing the classic orc skin tone is green, I thought I'd try one of the classic bits of YouTube advice and spray the underside of the minis with an opposite color during the zenithal process. So I went in with some purple ink. The sculpts are very cool and loaded with detail. Now, detail is awesome, and I love it, until I have to paint it all. But that's neither here nor there. I would not give up the detail that come out in these new sculpts just because it's difficult to paint, or not difficult to paint, but time consuming to paint. I do really enjoy all that detail in these figures. They're very cool. But my favorite figures on this team are probably the Squig and the Grot, or, the Goblin. With his little grappling hook and diving fins. Like, what the hell does he have diving fins on for? There was one thing I had to do that was kind of unavoidable, and I dislike doing this thing, but well, at least I only had to do it for 4 of the 12, right? And that thing is sub-assemblies. A few of these guys with the bigger guns just would have been too hard to paint when fully assembled, so I gave in and put the sub-assemblies on their own paint stands. Hoffman just laughed at me, because I think he painted 9 out of his 10 puny Krieg dudes in sub-assemblies. Yes, I was aghast as well. Now, my plan for the color scheme had exactly one bullet point. Orange shirts. Nope, I don't know why. I just wanted them to be bright, I think. Okay, I had 3 bullet points. Orange shirts, oil wash, metallic chipping. So to start off with, I'm throwing down the first skin color. I kind of wanted to do these guys entirely with the Vallejo Express colors, but I did end up having to throw in some Citadel contrast paint. Vallejo announced their second batch of Express colors, which introduces quite a few more hues, but as of this paint project, I couldn't find them anywhere. But anyway, they have a good orange for the shirts, so onward we go. And even though I tell myself I'm speed painting, I'm kind of not, because I'm still trying all this time to color inside the lines. There's no way around it. Transparent paints are a pain in the ass sometimes. Whatever. Just leave me alone. Now, I like to vary skin tones in units, so I always plan to do different tones on these guys. Plus, I'm still learning these Express colors, so I put on the Snake Green, which turned out to be much bluer than I expected. But that's great. It's a cool color, and he's a cool orc. Now, for the orange shirt, the main event. Initially, I mixed the Express Orange with Express Medium, thinking I might build up some shadows, but the thinned down orange was just not dense enough for speed painting, so I eventually just went full strength with it. Now, I'm still figuring out the overall scheme on these 2 prototypes, and I thought I should get some grungy color on these guys somewhere, but this is where the Express line falls way short. They just don't have any colors like this rattling grime. So, a Citadel we go. Then, of course, we gotta separate the boots from the pants, so I used the Express colors Black Lotus, which is obviously blue. Yes, I know I could have mixed shades to get a certain color, but that's against the speed painting rules, and we are 100% law-abiding citizens on this channel, right? Right. At this point, I am becoming very aware of the rising clown suit meter, so I'm like, hey, some good old-fashioned OD green will ground these guys. Come on. So the backpacks they've apparently looted from an army surplus cargo boat off the event horizon of some sad Imperial Guard vacation planet somewhere. one size fits all, they're getting the olive drab treatment, which, in point of fact, is a mixed color. And there's our first two guys with what is now the official paint scheme. There's nothing clowny about them at all. What are you talking about?
You don't need a police bill, you need a psychiatrist.
So now for blocking in the detail bits. They've got all these LBE style straps and belts, and at first I thought, ooh, leather. But brown just gets all muddled in the orange shirt. So next I tried black to be more contrasty, except I didn't want to just go straight black. I thought a dark gray would be the ticket. This sooty black ink is great, but for this I wanted more coverage quicker. So out comes the classic Basilicanum Gray contrast paint. Now, side by side, I think most would agree the gray-black is superior to the brown. So I
corrected them, sir.
Time to base the metal parts in typical black. I plan to highlight this with some Vallejo steel to show that it's metal, but since the Express line doesn't have a true black or even a dark gray, we must again go with a typical Citadel contrast black like Black Legion or Black Templar. Now, I really enjoyed the metallic chipping on the red gun casing in those Infinity figures I painted a while back. And I for sure wanted to do that again with these guys, with the added bonus of all their grenades. So, is there a color I haven't used yet? Oh yes, I've missed one of the primary colors. You're only a half-assed clown if you ain't wearing, at the bare minimum, all the primaries. Come on. I like the hue of this Vallejo Express yellow a bit more than Citadel's Bad Moon yellow. It's a tad bit warmer or less green in comparison. But don't worry, I'm going to use the Bad Moon yellow too, you'll see. When I saw these big axes and some of the metal face masks on these guys, I thought metallic chipped yellow would be awesome. Now, somehow in all of my 4 hours of recorded clips, I failed to capture the first time I painted a bedroll fluorescent pink, which is a shame because I feel that was the moment true insanity set in. But all you get is the bedroll strap painting. You're welcome. For some reason, pink bedrolls just really made me laugh. I kept thinking of these guys stealing a cargo container bound for Kmart and cracking it open to find it full of hot pink sleeping bags. And here are our first couple of clowns. Game on. Now, I thought I might try to warm up the hands on this guy, put a little blood under the skin, etc. You know, you've seen lots of people doing that to their orcs, but silly me. Putting transparent yellow over blue was always going to make green. And yeah, it is fun being me sometimes. I went for a third green on the next guy's skin tone, and I kind of started painting them in pairs so I could change up the skin tone with each batch. This guy I thought deserved a blue grenade because I hadn't used quite the entire rainbow yet, and I'm nothing if not a completionist. Oh, and there's leather wraps for some stuff, so those get express color copper brown. Now here's the first assembly, the rocket launcher. And even though I really dislike painting in sub-assemblies, 100% because of the post-painting pain-in-the-ass assembly factor. But as far as the actual painting in sub-assemblies goes, well, that's why you do it, right? So you can easily paint a figure without huge pieces in the way of other pieces. Red and white rockets was the plan all along, and there are hoses and cables and metal boxes and fins and just all kinds of detail, which again looks fantastic, but holy cow, it's taking a long time to paint, speedy or otherwise. I mean, look, this guy's backpack has exactly 2 big old bullets on it, so of course those have to be picked out in a different color. Jeez. Now, more yellow is always a good idea, I say, so got cables, got yellow. And the white rocket heads. If I was a good painter, I'd probably do the little checkerboard stripe thing on these, but, well, you can see the answer to that question right here. Squig time. I'm painting him with these 3 colors just like I would a torch or flame element, because all red clearly just ain't rainbow enough. The straps get a greenish gray. I don't know why. And then all the bits that are going to be red metal have to be touched up with the pale gray for the transparency issue. He's got a mouthful of grenades, so they have to be blue. I suppose they're phosphorus grenades. I also think the phrase mouthful of grenades should be on a t-shirt. A squig's teeth are a major feature of its face, but they're reminding me that a lot of the orc's teeth and fingernails I haven't painted yet. Double G's. A quick bit with the light sand paint and then some army painter wash to dirty them up, and we'll call them done. I painted his wire cable thing in the Citadel Bad Moon yellow because it has that different tint to make it stick out a little bit from the yellow I used on the overall skin. And the grot. Of the 2 available heads to choose, I had to pick the scuba mask because that's the correct choice. Duh. I mean, this little guy's running around in a wetsuit with a grappling hook. Like, what the hell is going on with this guy? He's obviously just too cute. I want a Warhammer TV animated series about just this one guy right here. It'd even be fun just to write up our own little short story about him. He's just so goofy. And what he does on the battlefield is pure comedy. But we'll chat about that in a future episode. So, he's got a candy blue wetsuit. Hey, he likes bright colors. but he's got to show team spirit, so he's got himself some orange gloves and orange flippers. And he's got the standard issue backpack with the OD green, but then he's also nabbed himself a child-sized neon pink bedroll. And there he is, proudly as clowny as his Ork Commando buddies. The big boss is the last dude in the line, even though there's still a lot to do. I mixed up the light green and the blue-green for his flesh, which kind of makes a pretty typical orcish green. His arm is Frankenstein into his cyberclaw thing, so a little brown to mix up some dead flesh color kind of works. Now, I wrestled a lot with deciding where to put the orange on his coat. Inside liner versus outside shell. I went back and forth quite a bit, but in the end, the flipped collar sold me on the liner being orange. And we're not going to mention that it's a Halloween coat now either, just keep that to yourself. He gets red for all the metal box and casing bits and yellow for the main attraction. And of course, he's got to have some blue. I mean, where'd all the other commandos get the idea to go full clown suit in the first place, right? That's right, the director influences the tone of the entire set. Before doing the last few steps, I had to assemble the sub-assemblies, and this is why I just don't like doing this whenever possible. The rocket launcher was an easier one to do because it only had one arm in the sub-assembly, and this little piece I almost forgot. But it's too cool to not put on, so I just slapped the raw plastic with some black paint. For the base coats, I grabbed some of this high-flow golden paint to cover them because I just have these bottles laying around and hardly use them, so there you go. Vallejo Metal Color Steel is my dark silver metallic paint of choice, and while I was mostly just going to highlight the black metal bits, on the flamer barrel I specifically put a full coat of it so I could try out doing that metal heating effect in a bit. And now we embark on a step that took a long time and was ridiculously tedious and is definitely not part of speed painting. Until we say it is, of course. Metal chipping, using that Vallejo Metal Color Steel and Vallejo Metal Color's exhaust manifold, which is a brighter, slightly warm metallic. And that exhaust manifold on the yellow is absolutely producing the effect I was hoping for. I really like it. It definitely looks like chipped paint. Now the heat rainbow on the flamer, just for fun. Are you a clown if you ain't got a rainbow somewhere? Probably not, you're just a poser. Doing all the chipping on these figures took at least 3 hobby sessions, but I didn't record any more of it because it's all the same technique applied everywhere. I slapped some brighter desert color on the bases just before the oil wash, figuring I'll dry brush these bases later. So there's the array of clowns, all lined up and fully bright because I haven't put the oil wash on yet. Just wanted to check them out in their full clown glory. And now it's finally time for the oil wash. A typical mix of brown and black, and I used a straight brown wash on the yellow bits. After letting them sit for 30 minutes, I went back in for the wiping off stage, and I'm officially unhappy with my technique. Somehow, I've got to figure out how to do a reverse dry brush with this stuff, because I end up wiping off most of the wash from the recesses that I want to hold it, and it's just frustrating. I don't know if I have to pick apart a piece of foam and have a little teeny tiny piece on at the end of some tweezers, and I go in and just dab it. Basically, what sucks about it is I realize that I'm going to have to put just a lot more work and time into wiping off the oil wash, which to me was supposed to be all about this very fast, wash and wipe and be done, and it's super quick. But it just doesn't, I don't know. I'm just not being successful with it. Anyway, I added some dry brushing and tufts to the bases before matte coating everything, and then went back in with the metal colors to brighten up the chipping here and there. And there we go. A full kill team speed painted in the same amount of time a real painter would have painted up a fully non-speed painted squad. Why do I write sentences like that? What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that I quote-unquote speed painted a squad in the amount of time it would have taken a regular painter to fully paint up a squad that wasn't speed painted. It doesn't matter how many times I say it or try to get it out. It's just convoluted. Anyway, all in all, they're fine. I'm glad they're done, but I certainly would like to paint some of these guys with like a full attention to detail and not trying to speed paint them. They're very cool. The sculpts are excellent. I really do think they're very cool figures. But it is what it is. Hoffman and I played Kill Team, and we have thoughts on it. Again, we'll address those in a future video. I do dig the Groth, though. He's just gotta be my favorite. Well, that's another project down. That feels good, I think. Anyway, go finish something. You can feel good too. See ya.